My parents lied to my daughter to steal her college fund, then gave $40,000 to my niece. We didn't scream or fight. But 10 days later, a stranger handed them a letter, and what happened next made them completely fall apart. They lied to her face. Told her grandma was dying. That's what I said, stone cold, as I stood at the edge of my parents' pristine front lawn, watching my daughter sob in the passenger seat of my car. I hadn't even shut the door yet. She was crying so hard her hands were shaking, still clenched around the empty bank envelope. My name's Danielle. I'm 41, a single mom, high school English teacher, and the proud mom of a wicked smart, slightly too trusting daughter named Lexi. She just turned 19, and she's the kind of kid who leaves thank you notes for teachers and volunteers at the animal shelter on weekends. She'd been saving since she was 13. Birthdays, tutoring jobs, babysitting. Everything went into her college fund. Until 10 days ago. That was the day my parents, Lexi's grandparents, called her up in a panic. Said my dad needed emergency heart surgery and they were short on the deductible. Claimed it was $36,000 they didn't have, that it was urgent and secret, and they didn't want to tell me because I had enough on my plate already. Lexi didn't even hesitate. She transferred her entire college fund, $38,750, and told them to keep the change. When she told me what she'd done, she looked proud. I saved Grandpa, she said, her eyes shining. But here's the thing. My dad never had surgery. Never even saw a doctor. I found that out 3 days later at my niece Madison's Sweet 16 party, an event I wasn't even invited to. My sister Chloe made the Facebook post public by mistake. In the video, my parents handed Madison a giant novelty check, $40,000 for her first car and first year of college. I swear to you, I saw red. Not rage. No shouting, no swearing. Just clarity. Ice-cold clarity. That money was my daughter's. And they gave it away like a door prize. My hands were shaking when I showed Lexi the video. She just stared, silent. Then she whispered, "They lied to me?" Not just to her. To both of us. I should have exploded. But I didn't. I said, "We're going to fix this." But not with yelling. Not with drama. With precision. Because what they didn't know, what no one in my family knew, was that I had a backup plan. The question was, how far was I willing to go to use it? I didn't sleep that night. Instead, I pulled down the dusty box from the top shelf of my bedroom closet. Inside was a folder labeled Dad's Business, closed. I hadn't looked through it in over a decade. Back when I was 29, my father asked me to help him with paperwork for a failing rental property he was trying to offload. I did. I managed the sale, filed his paperwork, and, because he trusted me, I became the secondary power of attorney for his finances. Not just for that house, for all his personal financial matters. He never revoked it. He probably forgot. That's when I realized something sickening. I could have seen all of this coming. See, this wasn't the first time my parents had played favorites. Growing up, my sister Chloe was the golden child. I was the smart but difficult one. Chloe got the dance lessons, the braces, the car at 16. I got a lecture about being self-sufficient. And for years, I told myself it didn't matter. But it did. It mattered the night they called Lexi and tricked her into giving up everything she'd worked for. I called my friend Devin, a lawyer I'd gone to college with. "Is it illegal if someone lies to get money from a minor?" I asked. He paused, then said, "It depends." Was she tricked into giving it? Was it under duress? "She's 19, I said. But they framed it as a medical emergency. It wasn't. Fraud, he said bluntly. You could press charges. Or do something smarter. That's when the idea took root. I wasn't going to blow up. I wasn't going to confront anyone at a dinner table and get shouted down. I was going to turn this into a moment they couldn't ignore. But first, I needed proof. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I drove to my parents' bank. The clerk at the branch looked confused at first. But when I showed her my power of attorney documents and said I needed to review my father's recent activity for a suspicious financial situation, she handed it over. There it was. A deposit, $38,750. Then another withdrawal to an account under my sister Chloe's name. That confirmed it. They didn't even try to hide it. As I left the bank, I called Lexi. I know exactly what happened, I said. And I have a plan. She was quiet for a moment. What are you going to do, Mom? I smiled, but there was no joy in it. I'm going to teach them something they'll never forget. The Saturday after the bank visit, I drove Lexi to campus to talk through the plan. She sat across from me at a little coffee shop near her dorm, eyes puffy but fierce. She wasn't angry the way I was, she was hurt. Deeply. And she still hadn't told her grandparents she knew. They've called twice, she said. Left voicemails about how proud they are of me for stepping up. I clenched my jaw. You're not calling them back, I said. Not yet. Because the truth was, I needed time. Time to put the real plan in motion. That night, I went online and submitted a petition to revoke my father's access to the remaining financial tools tied to the power of attorney. Devin helped me write the necessary filings, enough to freeze certain assets temporarily without sparking a war too soon. Next, I scheduled a courier delivery for 10 days from now. It would include a notarized letter, signed by Lexi and me, formally demanding repayment within 30 days, plus an attached spreadsheet detailing every dollar, receipt, and date. But that wasn't the kicker. The real payload? Inside the envelope would be a copy of the police report I filed for fraud, pending submission unless full repayment is received. It read. Lexi signed it with trembling hands. They're going to hate me, she whispered. I squeezed her hand. They're going to respect you. And then, because I'm not a monster, I added one final detail, a second sealed envelope inside, marked only open if you truly love her. It contained a photograph of Lexi at age 12, holding up her first tutoring check with a smile that could melt steel. On the back, I wrote, "She trusted you, and you gave her away." Then I handed the courier the sealed package and waited. In 10 days, a woman in a navy blue blazer would knock on their front door and hand my parents that letter. And when they opened it, they'd start screaming. 10 days later, right on schedule, a uniformed courier stepped out of a silver Honda Civic and rang my parents' doorbell at precisely 11:14 a.m. Lexi and I weren't there. But we didn't have to be. Because the Ring doorbell caught everything. Chloe was the one who answered, still in a satin robe, sunglasses on her head, holding a half-eaten banana. She gave the woman a side-eye glance, signed her name, and called out, "Mom, you got mail." My mom came rushing to the door in a housecoat, snatched the envelope, and muttered something about sweepstakes. I swear to you, her face went pale before she even opened it. My dad joined a few seconds later. Glasses on. Confused. They stood in the doorway like statues, flipping through the contents, until my mom shrieked. I mean shrieked. It wasn't a yelp or a gasp, it was a full-throated, horror movie scream. My dad grabbed the letter from her hands, read it silently, then turned to her and said, "You said she didn't know. You said it was fine." And my mom, voice trembling, replied, "It was for Madison." She was supposed to be grateful. How was I supposed to know Danielle would find out? They didn't even realize the Ring camera was still rolling. Chloe stood behind them, frozen, holding her phone like it was a live grenade. I watched the whole thing later that night with Lexi, her laptop balanced on her knees. She didn't say much, just leaned into me. "They're scared," she said softly. "They should be," I replied. That night, I blocked all 3 of their numbers. Because for once in my life, I wasn't going to give them the satisfaction of hearing me angry. No, they were going to sit in that silence and stew in it. Until they realized the real damage hadn't just been to Lexi's bank account. It had been to her heart. The voicemails started by dinner time. "Danielle, please call us back. We didn't mean delete." Next one, "We can explain everything." This was a misunderstanding. You don't need to make this legal, delete. And then Chloe's. You seriously went full psycho over a car for Madison? You're ruining your own parents' lives over this. Blocked. They didn't get it. They still thought this was about money. But it was never about the $40,000. It was about what that money represented. Trust, sacrifice, and the years Lexi spent saving every dime while they spoon-fed silver to Chloe's kid. By Monday, my sister's Facebook wall had been wiped clean. No more photos of the giant novelty check. No more comments from old friends saying, OMG goals, or Madison is so lucky. It was like the internet version of scrubbing a crime scene. And then came the real kicker, a letter. A physical letter, handwritten, no return address, dropped in my mailbox. It was from my mother. It started with her usual tone. You always twist things to make yourself the victim. But somewhere on page 2, the panic kicked in. She wrote, Your father hasn't slept in days. We didn't think Lexi would actually give us everything. We thought it was just a gesture. And then when Chloe told us about Madison's acceptance letter, it just felt right. Like maybe this was the universe redistributing things. Redistributing. That word. Like my daughter's future was some Marxist karma offering to balance out their favorite grandchild's struggles. Then at the very bottom, scrawled in shaky script, Please, we'll pay it back. Just don't go to the police. I didn't reply. I didn't have to. Because the next envelope I mailed was addressed to Madison. Just 4 words inside. Ask your mom about Lexi. It took less than 48 hours for Madison to respond. Her message came in the form of a text to Lexi, short, cautious, like she didn't know which landmine she might step on. Hey, did something happen with Grandma and Grandpa? Mom won't talk to me. Did you send that letter? Lexi looked at me, unsure what to say. I nodded. Tell her the truth. Just once. So Lexi replied, They told me Grandpa needed surgery. I gave them my college fund. They gave it to you. That's the truth. There was no response. Not immediately. But the next night, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I almost didn't answer. I'm glad I did. It was Madison. Crying. They lied to me, she said. They told me it was a gift. For my grades. They said Lexi didn't need it. I just listened. She's been working 2 jobs, Madison continued, sniffling. I didn't know. I swear. That's when it all clicked into place for me. This wasn't just about teaching my parents a lesson. It was about protecting Lexi from the same family rot that tried to turn me small. That taught me to swallow pain and smile for photos. No one's mad at you, I said. But you've got a choice now. She was quiet. Then, I want to make it right. The next day, she did. Madison posted a long, raw message on her Instagram. No names, no drama, just truth. She wrote about privilege, guilt, and betrayal. About a cousin who gave everything and got lied to. And she ended it with, I'm selling the car. The money's going back where it belongs. This doesn't fix everything, but it's a start. Within an hour, Chloe called me, screaming, You manipulated my daughter. I hung up, because the cliff edge wasn't mine anymore. It was theirs. And they were the ones dangling. 2 days after Madison's post, my daughter left a letter on my kitchen table. Handwritten. Folded twice. No envelope. I opened it with that same nervous ache I used to get reading her report cards. Not fear, just that heavy emotion that comes when your child is braver than you ever were. Mom. I know what you did. I know it took everything in you to stay calm. To play it smart. I saw the way your jaw tightened every time someone said, family should stick together. I saw how your hands shook when you filled out those police forms you never filed. But I need to do something on my own now. I'm not taking the money back from Madison. She didn't know. And she tried to fix it. But I want something from Grandma and Grandpa. One thing. A real apology. Not the kind written on lawyer letterhead. Not the kind with excuses and sighs and we never meant. I want them to look me in the eye and say they did wrong. And I want them to say it in front of you. If they won't, I walk away. And I mean it. I sat there for a long time, the letter trembling in my hands. Not out of anger. Not sadness. Pride. Not for what she'd lost. But for what she refused to let them take from her, her voice. I texted my parents that afternoon with a single sentence. Lexi wants to see you. One last time. Don't bring gifts. Bring honesty. They didn't reply. Not that day. Not the next. But on the third morning, I opened the front door and found my mother standing there, clutching a manila envelope with both hands like it weighed 50 pounds. She looked smaller than I remembered. We came to talk, she said, voice hoarse. To her. And to you. Lexi stood behind me. Straight-backed. Calm. Then come in, she said. And make it count. They sat on the edge of our couch like strangers in a waiting room. My mom clutched that manila envelope like it might explode. My dad didn't speak. Not yet. He looked tired, older than I remembered. Like regret had aged him 10 years in 10 days. Lexi didn't sit. She stood in front of them, arms crossed, steady. She didn't yell. She didn't cry. She just said, "Tell me the truth." All of it. And they did. Or at least, the version they were finally willing to say out loud. My dad spoke first. "We thought you'd be okay without it. You're so capable. We panicked about Madison. Chloe made it sound like her world was falling apart. And you thought lying to me was the answer?" Lexi asked, flat. My mom blinked rapidly, like she might start crying, but no tears came. "We convinced ourselves it was a temporary loan," she said. "That we'd pay it back before you even noticed. Then the party happened, and it just got out of hand. Do you even understand what you did?" Lexi asked. "I spent 6 years saving. I didn't go on trips. I didn't buy clothes. I turned down stuff kids do." My mother nodded. We do now." Then she reached into the envelope and pulled out a check. 42,000, she said. "Everything. With interest. We sold your grandfather's coin collection. And your dad took a loan on the annuity." Lexi didn't move. Just stared at the check like it was foreign. "Keep it," she said quietly. "I didn't ask for money. I asked for an apology." Silence. And then softly, so softly I barely heard it, my father whispered, "We're sorry." But Lexi shook her head. "Say it like you're not afraid," she said. So he did. "We betrayed your trust. We lied. And we let Chloe manipulate us. We were wrong." My mom echoed it, tears finally coming. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't enough. But it was real. Lexi finally sat down. "Okay," she said. "Now you can leave." They did slowly, wordlessly, like people exiting a chapel after a funeral. That night, she left the check on the counter. "Maybe I'll use it," she said. "Maybe I'll burn it." And she meant it. A week passed. The check stayed on the counter like a relic. Neither of us moved it. It just lived there. A reminder. Not just of what happened, but what didn't. No more fake calls. No more guilt-laced texts. No come visit messages wrapped in guilt. It was quiet. One night, I walked into the kitchen and found Lexi sitting at the table, her laptop open, the check finally gone. "You cash it?" I asked. She shook her head. "Donated half to a scholarship fund. Other half's going into a Roth IRA. I'm starting over." I wanted to cry, but I didn't. Instead, I poured 2 cups of tea, sat down across from her, and said the only thing I could. "You shouldn't have had to be the adult." She gave me a tired smile. Someone had to be. That night, I finally wrote the letter I'd been putting off. Not to my parents. Not to Chloe. To Madison. Just 3 lines. "You didn't ask for this. But you stepped up. That matters more than you know. Your cousin forgives you. I'm still working on it. But I see you. That's a start." I never sent it. Didn't need to. Because sometimes, the real ending isn't about revenge or even justice. It's about reclaiming the quiet and never giving it back.